Breaking news: 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Well, folks, here we go again. Just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder, President Trump has decided to slap a 25% tariff on all imports from Canada and Mexico. That's right, our neighbors to the north and south are now officially in the crosshairs of a trade war. The stated goal? To crack down on illegal immigration and drug trafficking. Yes, you heard that right. Apparently, making Canadians and Mexicans pay more for goods is the key to solving complex geopolitical issues. Who knew? The White House, in its infinite wisdom, seems pretty confident that these tariffs will go into effect as planned. They're set to kick in on February 1st, so get ready for some serious economic turbulence. This isn't the first time Trump has used tariffs as a bargaining chip, but this latest move has sent shockwaves through the global economy. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride. The price hike. What to expect at the checkout. So what do these tariffs actually mean for the average American? In a nutshell, get ready to pay more for just about everything. Experts are predicting that inflation could rise by as much as 0.5 percentage point nationwide. That might not sound like a lot, but it translates to higher prices on everything from groceries to cars to that giant inflatable T-Rex costume you've always wanted. And don't even get me started on gas prices. Canada supplies a whopping 60% of our oil imports, so get ready to shell out some serious cash at the pump. The bottom line is this: these tariffs are going to hit consumers right where it hurts, their wallets. American industry braces for impact. It's not just consumers who are feeling the heat. American businesses, particularly those that rely on Canadian and Mexican imports, are bracing for a world of pain. Take the automotive industry, for example. General Motors, the largest auto producer in Mexico, is already scrambling to adjust its supply chains and figure out how to mitigate the impact of these tariffs. And it's not just GM. The entire industry is facing higher production costs, which will likely translate to higher prices for U.S. consumers. Then there's the oil and gas sector, which is facing a potential supply shock thanks to the tariffs on Canadian oil. This could lead to higher energy prices, which would ripple through the entire economy. The message is clear. These tariffs are bad news for American businesses and could have far-reaching consequences for the U.S. economy. Retaliation on the horizon. Canada and Mexico respond. Unsurprisingly, Canada and Mexico aren't exactly thrilled about being on the receiving end of these tariffs. Both countries have expressed their strong opposition and are gearing up for a fight. Mexico's president is reportedly considering retaliatory tariffs, but is hoping to resolve the issue through dialogue. Yeah, good luck with that. Meanwhile, Canada is also prepared to retaliate, with their foreign minister working tirelessly to prevent the tariffs from going into effect. But let's be real, folks. Trump doesn't exactly have a track record of backing down from a trade war. The situation is incredibly tense, and there are real concerns that these tariffs could disrupt the USMCA, the free trade agreement between the three countries. Section 5. Déjà vu. Trump's tariff playbook. This whole tariff thing might seem like a bizarre fever dream, but it's actually become something of a recurring nightmare under the Trump administration. Remember when Trump slapped tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from Canada, Mexico, and the European Union back in 2018? Yeah, well, this is basically that, but on steroids. Trump has also used tariffs to pressure Colombia into changing its deportation policies. So, yeah, he clearly has a thing for using trade as a weapon to achieve his political goals. The effectiveness of these past tariffs is debatable. Some argue that they've brought back manufacturing jobs to the U.S., while others say they've simply driven up costs for businesses and consumers. Section 6. The Great Debate. Will these tariffs work? So the big question is, will these tariffs actually achieve their intended goal of curbing illegal immigration and drug trafficking? The short answer is, probably not. Economists are warning of significant negative economic impacts, both in the United States and in Canada and Mexico. They argue that these tariffs will simply drive up prices for consumers, hurt businesses, and potentially lead to a trade war. The Trump administration, on the other hand, claims that these tariffs will make the United States wealthier and safer by reducing competition and stemming the flow of illegal immigration. Who's right? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, this whole situation is a giant gamble with potentially disastrous consequences. Section 7. Winners and losers. Who benefits from the trade war? In any trade war, there are always winners and losers. But in this case, it's hard to see who the real winners are. Sure, some domestic industries might benefit from reduced competition in the short term. But in the long run, everyone loses when trade is disrupted and the global economy takes a hit. Consumers lose because they end up paying more for goods and services. Businesses lose because they face higher costs and uncertainty. And workers lose because jobs are lost and wages stagnate. The bottom line is this: trade wars are bad for everyone involved. Section 8. The future of North American trade. Uncertainty reigns. These tariffs have cast a long shadow over the future of North American trade. The USMCA, which was supposed to strengthen trade relations between the three countries, is now in jeopardy. Canada and Mexico are understandably wary of negotiating with a partner who seems intent on using tariffs as a weapon. And the United States business community is increasingly concerned about the long-term impact of these protectionist policies. The path forward is unclear, but one thing's for certain: the stakes are high, and the consequences of inaction could be severe. Section 9. A final thought: the unintended consequences of protectionism. As we navigate this uncertain terrain, it's important to remember that protectionist policies like these often have unintended consequences. By erecting barriers to trade, we risk isolating ourselves from the global economy and stifling innovation. We also risk alienating our closest allies and undermining the very institutions that have underpinned decades of peace and prosperity. In the end, the real losers in this trade war may not be Canada or Mexico, but the American people themselves.